Genesis is full of brothers. Cain and Abel, Isaac and Ishmael, Jacob and Esau. And no one comes out of brotherhood unscathed. Abel is lost forever, his life taken by his brother. Esau exiled, Jacob injured, Isaac made silent by trauma, Ishmael made to live elsewhere. And their mothers, beholden to destinies determined by a God who hardly speaks to them and by the men who worship that God. We inherit their stories, the troubled stories of these troubled ancestors. So we can say, all of these are my ancestors. This is my line. My line is the line of Isaac, of Jacob. I am of that lineage. I am from the line of Isaac, the line of the child that the angels blessed, the child that was saved for the sake of our line, the one that his mother and father yearned for. I'm from that line. I'm from that line, not the line of Ishmael and Esau. Ishmael, born of an Egyptian slave, Ishmael taunted his brother. Ishmael was jealous. Ishmael wanted his father's attention, all to his own, wanted retribution for what was done to his mother at the hands of Isaac's mother. And of course, how the other line, how they tell the story is the opposite. Ishmael, the Quran says, is righteous, is patient, and is true. Everything we say about Isaac, they say about Ishmael. Two narratives, both that make them, the other ones, feel like foreigners, people too different from us. The Midrash tells us that those brothers, they never get along. Isaac and Ishmael, they both want the birthright. They both want their father's love. And the Midrash here is scarily prescient, saying, when Isaac grew up, quarrels broke out between him and Ishmael on account of the rights of the firstborn. Ishmael insisted he should receive a double portion of the inheritance after the death of Abraham, and Isaac should receive only one portion. Ishmael, who'd become accustomed from his youth to use the bow and arrow, was in the habit of aiming his missiles in the direction of Isaac, saying at the same time he was but jesting. Ishmael's murderous behaviors instigate Sarah to call for him and his mother to be expelled. Rightfully so. She has to be protective of her child, of her lineage, of her family. Still, Abraham feels responsible for Hagar and Ishmael. According to a Midrash, when Ishmael and Hagar are exiled, Abraham gives them 12 loaves of bread and water. He still wanted to provide for them. He holds the line, maintains that Ishmael must go, but still, he does not allow him to starve. He knows he is wrapped up in their survival. And because of this, Ishmael lives in his own nation with his own children. Maybe it isn't what some would call peace, but it is something. Isaac and Ishmael live lives apart until a moment is called for them to come back together. The moment when Abraham dies. And Torah says he is gathered to his people, to his kin, to our kin, all of them. And Isaac and Ishmael reunite to bury their father, to mourn their losses. No politics, no talk of birthright. For just that moment, they just have the chance to bury their dead. And the Midrash tells us that this gives the chance for all the inhabitants of Canaan to mourn. all of the families of the house of Abraham, the children of Isaac and the children of Ishmael. It's important to say what happens next, which is nothing. There's no grand reconciliation. There's no embrace. There's no forgiveness. Isaac and Ishmael never appear together again. They bury their dead, and then they each continue on with their own story, their own book, their own people and lineages and legends. They don't choose to live their life together. But in telling the end of their story, our rabbis make sure we know that we are still part of what once was, and in some ways is still, a shared story. It's inconvenient. It would be so much easier to cut the tie, to ignore the shared ancestor, to tell our story with one but not the other. But that isn't the story that was given to us. Our rabbis made sure that we knew that Ishmael was himself deserving of his own nation, which deserves to thrive in its own right, and that we, too, deserved it, deserved to thrive. It would be so much easier if our tradition spoke of one voice about this, saying only the line of Isaac matters, but they don't. They remind us that our story is intertwined, whether we like it or not. We don't have to be friends. But Isaac and Ishmael, in their coming together at Abraham's burial, leave a door open for each other in case they need it. If they can, maybe someday visit the grave of their father and mourn him together. Maybe we could at least not hate each other. Maybe we could at least not be forced to kill their children. I don't want to be at war. I don't want to live always looking over my shoulder. I dream of a day where someday we might walk through that door, visit that same place together. I know today is not that day. I'm not ready to walk through, not yet. But I am thankful. I am hopeful, just knowing that a door is there.